Do you really not want me here? Jason stood at the kitchen door, his fingers tapping on the counter, his eyes sharp as knives, piercing me. He doesn't have a job, but he dumps most of the living expenses on me. When I'm cooking, he sits on the couch playing games, watching as I collapse in the kitchen. Every time I come home late from work, he coldly says, "Can't even manage dinner." When I suggested a date, he complained that the restaurant I chose was too expensive. All you know is to spend money. Every effort I make is easily dismissed, every compromise turned into criticism. I packed my things and moved into a friend's house. Jason, anxious and frantic, even cried as he grabbed my arm. "I'll change, I really will." I didn't look back. With each box I packed, I felt a little more freedom, and I knew, this time, I wouldn't relent. I had been dating my boyfriend for 8 years, until I told him, I'm just tired." Tired? Tired of what? Me? Us? What are you thinking? He stepped in front of me, his hands on the counter, forcing me into the corner. I bit my lip, not wanting to say the truth aloud. I no longer liked him. For months, I hadn't genuinely smiled. Intimacy repulsed me, and arguments made my nerves tight. I wanted to escape, but I knew avoiding it would only prolong the pain. "You don't care about me at all." Jason raised his voice. "You don't want to be with me, but you always say you care." "I do care," I raised my head, my voice firm. "But that doesn't mean I can lie to myself or to you and say I want to continue this relationship." "So you're leaving? Right now? You'll regret it." He slammed his hand on the counter, making the cups rattle. "This time I won't," I said, my eyes full of resolve. He froze, as if he couldn't believe it. "Are you crazy? After 2 years, you're ending everything just because you're unhappy? Do you have any idea how much I've done for you?" "I know." I tightened my grip on the towel. "I know for the past 2 years, I've shouldered most of the financial burden. And what about you? No job, always quitting after a couple of months, and you're living off me." Jason hesitated, then sneered. "A couple of months? I've tried, and you're just going to accuse me." "Try? Is that trying? Giving up after a few months, and then living off me the rest of the time." I straightened up, my voice filled with the anger I had been holding in. This isn't living, and it's definitely not love. I packed my bags and moved to a friend's house. Jason was frantic, calling and texting nonstop. "I can change, I really can. Please don't leave me." I stood firm. I've made my decision. This time, no turning back. But when I saw the helplessness in his eyes, I softened. Compromise happened again, and I took him back home. The first attempt at breaking up failed, and I began doubting my own willpower. Back at home, he still wasn't working, spending most of his time playing games and on social media. I worked night shifts, exhausted to the bone, and every time I came home, he was on the couch playing games, while I was left to cook dinner in the kitchen, feeling drained, and he never reacted. "Why don't you wash a dish? Is it really that hard?" he complained. "I just got off my night shift. You can handle it yourself," I answered coldly. He pouted, not stopping what he was doing, and I gritted my teeth, feeling both angry and helpless. This had been going on for too long. That night, I finally sat on the couch to catch my breath. He came over and sat beside me, pointing at me. "Do you think you're better than me? That everything you do is better than me?" I stayed silent, a sharp pain stirring in my heart. Every time I made an effort, he would turn it into criticism. I had thought of breaking up countless times, but every time I saw the expectation and helplessness in his eyes, I compromised. Once, after I came home late from working overtime and hadn't prepared dinner on time, he stood at the door and coldly said, "You're so irresponsible, you can't even manage dinner." Another time, when I suggested we go out on a date, he complained that the restaurant I chose was too expensive. "You only know how to spend money. Who told you to have a job?" Each insult and criticism was like a needle piercing my heart. I was exhausted, but still held it all in, not wanting to show my weakness. Weeks later, Jason found a temporary job. He left early and came home late, looking a little tired. I tried to encourage him. "See? You can do it." The first 2 weeks, he did make an effort, going to work on time, even carefully pouring me water and washing dishes when he got home. I thought he might change, and a glimmer of hope stirred inside me. But gradually, he started slacking off, being late, and complaining about his low salary. After 2 months, he gave up entirely, spending all his time playing games on the couch, eating the food I made, not washing dishes, and leaving the room a mess. I couldn't hold back anymore. You fail again and again, and I compromise again and again. This isn't life. He lowered his head, his voice choking. I just need some time. I really want to change. No, I said firmly this time. It's not going to happen. You've proven you can't be independent. I can't wait for you to change anymore, and I won't sacrifice myself again. That night, he sat on the floor, his hands holding his head, the game controller from the couch falling to the ground with a loud thud. I moved the boxes, packed up the clothes he had left behind, my heart heavy but knowing I had to stick to my decision. I turned to my friend for help and vented about everything. My friend said seriously, "You've had enough, he won't change. You need to stick to your boundaries." I decided, this time, I wouldn't compromise. Jason saw me packing my things and began to panic. "You can't leave. How could you do this?" "I'm leaving, not to punish you, but so I can really live," I said calmly. He grabbed my arm, his voice urgent. "What will I do if you leave?" "I don't have a job." I gently pulled my arm away. "You'll find your own way. I can't be dragged down by you anymore." With every box I moved, I felt my sense of freedom growing, and yet I was nervous. Moving out meant a complete end, and I could never go back. During the moving out process, I learned to hold my ground. No more weakness, no more compromise. Every time I moved out, it was a self-validation. I could live on my own. I could control my time and my money. I began to realize that the humiliation and pressure I had faced wasn't my failure, but his problem. Moving out wasn't done in one go. I took clothes, books, kitchen supplies, and Jason temporarily moved to a friend's house and then back again. Every time I moved out, it came with arguments. "Why did you pack up my stuff?" he complained. "This is to make you realize this is no longer just your safe haven," I replied coldly. The moving cycle lasted 2 months. Jason occasionally tried short-term jobs, but quickly gave up, and his reliance on me grew again. Every cycle pushed my resolve further, and I learned to set clear boundaries, no longer being swayed by his emotions. Finally, I decided to move out for good. I packed up all my belongings, took everything I could carry, and moved to a new apartment. Jason saw me packing and panicked. "You can't leave." "What are you doing?" "I'm leaving, not to punish you, but so I can truly live," I said without hesitation. While moving out, he grabbed my hand, his eyes full of anxiety. "What will I do if you leave?" "I don't have a job." "You'll find your way." "I won't be dragged down by you anymore," I answered firmly, lifting the boxes into the car, my arms sore but full of strength. The moment I moved out of the apartment, I looked back and knew this was no longer my prison. Jason stood at the door, his hands hanging by his side, his expression complicated, disappointed, helpless, and with a trace of anger. After moving into my new apartment, I hung up my own pictures, placed new plants around. For the first time, I could laugh loudly, cook the meals I wanted, and watch movies without distractions. The sunlight outside the window streamed onto the floor, and the breeze brushed my face. I felt the long-lost freedom. A friend texted me, "You really moved out?" "That's amazing." I replied, "Yes, I can live for myself now." I started living at my own pace, going to the market on weekends, doing yoga, reading, and occasionally meeting friends. Every little thing reminded me that I had finally escaped the cycle of the past 2 years. The shadows of the past occasionally flickered, but I knew I had control of my life. The choices and boundaries I set allowed me to regain my freedom and sense of control. I took a deep breath, smiling, and knew in my heart, this time I would never look back.